All right. So here we go for points on that front side. So each thing that you're supposed to mark in a set of quotation marks is worth 1 point. So if you got one in the right place and one in the wrong place, then it would be minus half. Actually, no, you have to have them both in the right place to get the half a point because everything's half a point. But they count together. They don't count separately. So 2 quotation marks counts as half a point. All right. So here we go. On number 7, Aunt, Grace, Flo, Gently, Sweet, Afton, Robert, Burns should all be capitalized. And then you should have quotation marks around Flo, Gently, Sweet, Afton. And then you should have a comma after Gently. All right. Okay, here we go. Number 8. U.S. Supreme Court should all be capitalized, and there should be periods after the U and the S. Oh, here comes Katie. What is that character she has as her picture?
I don't see it. Let me look at.
See it?
I'm gonna look at the contacts which we have right now.
Katie, I may have asked you this before. What is the characters that you have on that picture when you first come up?
I don't know. It's a meme.
What's that?
It's a meme. I don't know.
Oh, it's a meme. That's right. Yeah, I think you told me that before. Okay. Hey, we already started checking, but we just started. So, Katie, if you have your page 215 and turn your camera on.
Wait, let me think. I saw that somewhere. But I forgot where.
Oh, let me ask you all a question. How many of you would be interested in buying your books by if we're planning on having one? So how many of you would be interested in buying one?
And
1, 2, 3.
What?
Buying
A yearbook.
Oh, I think I'm.
All of you would be? Okay. I figured that's probably the case. So Pastor Fricks is going to send out a text next week that people, in order to get a yearbook, to prepay for it. And I've got to get the information for them together. In fact, I better write that down before I forget. All right. Here we go then. We're starting on number 7 there, Katie, on page 215. All right. So again, everything's half a point. And if you have a set of quotation marks, the set is worth a half a point. So if you don't get them both right, then you just don't get any points for them. But you don't lose half a point for each quotation mark itself. Make sense? Okay. All right. So just tell me what you have underlined, and I can tell you what you missed.
Can I actually use a homework press?
Yeah, I guess you have no choice if you haven't done it. So I'll continue on with the rest of you. Guys ready? All right, number 9. Presidents should be capitalized, and then there should be an apostrophe between the T and the S of presidents. Then there should be a semicolon after television. And then Senator Jones should be both capitalized. Then a comma after crime and a comma after poverty. All right, and then on number 10, there should be a comma after Sarah. Joe's sacrifice should both be capitalized. Joe's should have a apostrophe between the O and the S. There should be quotation marks around Joe's sacrifice. And then Louisa M. Alcott's Little Women should all be capitalized. And then Little Women should be underlined. And there should be a dot after M for Louisa M. And then Alcott should have an apostrophe between the T and the S. There are a lot in that one. All right, and then on using verbs, it's 1 point per word. So number 1, these are the ones you should have crossed out. Number 1, drug. 2, bring. 3, can. 4, builded. 5, rose. 6, set. 7, 8, and then come. So it's worth 1 point, half point each for those. Each sentence is worth 1 point. So 8, ATE, and come. Then number 8 is rose. Number 9 is lay. And number 10, swore.
Mr. Jones, what was
Yeah.
number 6, the second part?
Begun. Oh, thank you. I didn't even see that. I didn't say it. Yeah, begun should be crossed out. All right. And then for the diagramming, what were the 3 again? It was 3, 5, and 6, right? All right. So this is what 3 should, All right. So you should have for your subject on number 3 is pastor. So you should have that in the thing. In fact, let me just show you a picture of it. So you see there. So tell me what you missed, whatever you missed, and then I will tell you how many. It's worth 3 points each. So tell me, and I'll tell you what you miss on it. Hold on one moment. Hi, Janice. Hi, what's up? The tub has a leak in it? They have a crack in it? Oh, okay. Gotcha. So did they say the crack is in the actual pan, or did they say the crack is in the pan itself? Okay. Ooh, okay. Can you call Rachel and let her know? Or I guess she'll know already. Yeah, that's right, because they'll let her know. That's fine. And yeah, she'll get the information, and then she will go through the next appropriate step for that. So, all right. Well, no, we're having it on. No, it would be next Thursday, because it's the second Thursday of the month. Oh, I know. Tell me about it. No, it will either be their response. Well, to me, I'm thinking it's their responsibility because they had a cracked pan, and now I don't know why they wouldn't have seen it, and that's going to kind of determine whether the plumber, or what the plumber says, or whoever does the assessment as to whether or not it's something they should have noticed. But that would be their responsibility. Are they particularly heavy up there, as in weight? Okay. I guess it would also depend where the leak is coming from. So if it's coming from the edge of the pan, or something where there's caulk on it, then that would be certainly their responsibility, because they should be keeping that maintenance. So, all right. Yeah. Okay. All right. All right. Bye. Bye. Sorry about that. It was a HOA thing. I had it backwards. HOA thing that one of my older ladies, she's on our board, and she's an older lady. She's like 80 something years old, and she had a leak in her, and she was worried about whether she was going to have to pay for it. All right. Anyway, so back to where we were. All right. So any other questions on that section there? Okay. So did anybody have any questions about the diagram? And so you want to tell me, did anybody get it perfect?
No, I just missed one little part.
Can I see it again?
What? Okay, wait a minute. Let me just find out. Andre, what did you miss on number 3?
On number 3, for the diagramming?
Yeah.
Yeah. the winner I forgot to put after the verb. I forgot to put it as a direct object.
So where did you put it?
I didn't put it at all. I forgot
Oh,
to
okay,
put
so you're just missing that part. So
Yeah.
what about a good soul? What did that modify? Did you have that in there?
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
How about of that small church? Did you have that prepositional phrase there?
Yeah.
Coming off of what?
Coming off the pastor.
Okay. All right. And then the word the, and then you have the word is there for the verb.
Yeah. Is.
Okay. So that would be minus 1.5
Okay.
for that one. All right. And then Eric, what about you?
I got this. He got. I put the winner part in this right under in the lines under is.
Okay. All right. What about a good soul?
Yeah, I put that under is too. I wrote pastor is a good soul winner.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. So it'd be 1.5 for you too. The same thing. Juliana, how about you?
Can I just show you?
Yeah, that's fine. Okay. Wow. Yeah. That's basically going to be minus 2.5. And Brianna, what about you?
Mr. Joe, I forgot to do it.
What do you mean if you got to do it?
I don't know how I forgot. I forgot.
Well, it'd have to count as -3 then. So for number 5 then, if you want to just show me, it might be easier if I just look at it and tell you what you missed on it. So can you show it up close? Go ahead. Put it up to the projector or the camera and I'll look at it. Oh my goodness, Eric. Okay. Man caught. All right. Forgot to.
That was bad. And
All right, Eric, it's going to be -1. Andre, you got to hold it a little. Actually, I can't do yours because yours is too blurry. But I can do Juliana's. Hold on. Juliana, move it to your right a little bit. Oh, that's all you have there? Okay. All right. Yeah, it's going to be -2 for that one, Juliana. And then, Andre, go ahead and read yours.
so man is the subject. Oh, my phone's on 5%. Wait. Let me get my
Oh,
charger.
thank you. Thank you for noticing. Don't you charge your phone at night?
I do, just
Oh, you use it all day, huh?
no.
Playing video games,
No.
watching YouTube,
I don't play video games. And put it on the
watching YouTube videos, probably
No.
starting your own business. That's what you're trying to do, right? Using all your phone power for starting a new business.
No.
You have an iPhone, right?
No, have a Samsung.
Oh. Are you all good now?
Get back to chat. Wait, let me get back to meeting. It just logged me up for a second. I'll take my phone out my
That's
case
fine.
because I need a wireless. Okay. Yeah, I think I'm still alive. Yeah, now it's charging.
All right.
Oh, I put man as the subject that is modified by the, whatever the is coming out of man.
Okay.
Caught is the verb. And the direct object is the ball.
Did you put both the ball as the direct object?
Oh,
Or did you put ball and then the off of ball?
yeah.
Okay. And then what about the behind second base?
Oh, I did see that prepositional phrase.
All right, so -1/2 on that one. And then
Yeah.
the last one is easy, guys, so you can look at this one and see. Number 6. So
Yeah.
each part is 1 point. So if you got the Subject, that's 1 point. The verb, that's another point. And then the predicate adjective or predicate nominative, whatever it was, predicate adjective, that's 1 point as well. All right? Is that clear enough? There we good? Okay. All right, so let's go to the next page, 216 then. All right, so just the top one, and that one was for points as well. I gave you the first three, right? Doug, Ethan, and correct.
First
And
four.
first four, and then Warren. Okay, so 5 and 6 are both correct. 7 is drowned, D-R-O-W-D-E-D. I'm sorry, D-R-O-W-N-E-D. Not drowted, drowned. And then 8 is set, S-E-T. And then through, T-H-R-E-W. And then did, D-I-D. For 10. Okay.
What was 10?
10 was D-I-D, did.
Oh.
Okay. All right, so all right, so let's see. Eric, what'd you get? Minus how many altogether?
Wait, let me count up.
Okay. How about you, Juliana? You got yours yet? 1 altogether? Okay. 1, no, can't, it has to be more than 1. You had more on the diagrams. I told you on the diagrams you had more than that wrong. Okay, how about you, Andre?
And this top one there. Like, I'm still calculating. Wait.
Okay. So what was it, Juliana?
Mr. John.
For the diagrams?
For everything, all those sections together.
Okay. I need... I'm counting up.
Okay, Eric, go ahead.
Minus 6.5.
All right, thanks. All right, and then Brianna, what about you?
Minus 6.
All right. Andre, Juliana, whenever. You have your pass right
I'm
there,
ready, I'm ready.
Katie?
I can't find it.
All right, so just put a 0 for right now, and then if you want to find it and send it in the envelope, just send it in the envelope and I'll use it for that. I always check the envelopes to make sure. I always find Juliana's passes in there. Go ahead, Juliana, what'd you get?
Minus 6, 7.
7? Okay.
I got-
Andre?
I got minus 5.
Thank you. All right, so let's go ahead and look at the next part here. All right, now all of you in your envelope, you have a language test. We're not doing it today, but hold on to it. Don't send it back to me. All right, and so because we've got a couple more pages that we're gonna do, then you have the test either Monday or Tuesday of next week. Probably not till Tuesday or Wednesday actually of next week. So let's look at the bottom of 216. Subject verb agreement. And just a reminder, how do you know a verb is a singular verb? Go ahead, Katie.
If it has like an S at the end of it, or like
Yeah, if it has an S. So for instance, the word makes there is a singular verb, and make would be a plural verb. Now the question is macaroni and cheese singular or plural?
Plural.
Actually, it's a dish because it even says it's a tasty side dish. So it's actually one meal. It's one thing. So it's actually singular. So you would cross out the make, and makes would be your answer there. Now, number 2, Andre.
Yeah.
So explain to me what your answer is and why it's that answer.
Which page?
What do you mean, which page? One we've been doing already.
I was lost.
216
on-
216 at the bottom. 216 at the
Oh,
bottom.
that part I didn't do. I'm sorry.
We're not supposed to do it yet. We're doing it together now. We're just starting it.
Oh,
I'm asking you what is your answer and why do you get that answer? Sorry to
What?
confuse you.
what's my answer?
That's what I'm asking.
It just sounds right.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm thinking was because like it sounds more right when you say it. Yeah.
Wait a minute. So was should be crossed out or was should be
Oh,
left?
what should be the answer? Where should be crossed out and saying?
Okay, you are correct. Was is the answer. Now the question is why. Can anybody answer that? Besides Katie, because she answered last one. Anybody remember? Do you know, Katie? No? How about you, Eric? Anybody have an idea? So remember when it has the word nor or, you look at the one that's closest to the verb. And the one that's closest to the verb is the word butter. So because butter is singular, then you use a singular verb was. Okay? So in the or nor conjunction, that's what you do to decide which one to use. All right? Number 3. Juliana, what do you think? Which one should you cross out?
You should cross out is.
Yep, that's correct. Because boots and a saddle are more than one thing. So you have to use the verb that is plural. All right. Katie, number 4.
Or should be crossed out.
That is correct. Were should be crossed out. Because what is the actual noun there? Katie, what's the actual noun?
Car.
Yeah, car, because with all its accessories is a prepositional phrase. So you don't go by accessories, but that is one they're going to try to trick you with on the test. Okay, they will keep trying to get you to look at those prepositional phrases right before the verb on this type of an exercise, okay? All right, so then how about number 5, Mr. Eric? Or did I already call on you for one?
Decides.
Sure, go ahead. Decide should be crossed out is right. Jury is a singular noun, and so decides should be the right word that you use, okay? So I'll let you guys finish those, not for points. You have another 5 there and another 5 on the next page. Look at using nouns. All right, now this one I do want to do for points, and here's the reason why, because I want you guys to focus on how to figure out what these things are, whether they're predicate, adjective, predicate, nominative, a direct object, indirect object, or a direct address. And then I'll point you back to, what page was that? Boy, it's been a while since we've done it. What was that page where you have the steps to go through? Yeah, it's page 202. So right on there next to page, on that one, page 202, because that will be a good reference for you of how to figure out what they are. Each sentence is going to be worth 2 points. So you want to make sure that you do it correctly. And then the same thing for using pronouns at the bottom. That's going to be a similar thing, except you're deciding how the verb there is used in the blank that it's used, whether it's a subject, direct object, indirect object, predicate, nominative, or an object of the preposition. All right, and so those are going to be the next one. Look at the next page. All right, so in fact, let's forget that. Let's do number 1 through 5 together. Go back to 217. All right, so On number 1, it says write the correct pronoun in the sentence. So which pronoun goes there in the sentence, Juliana? Number 1 for using pronouns.
Can you repeat what you said? Because I couldn't hear because of the kids.
Okay. On number 1, what goes in the blank there for on using pronouns? On page 217. You know what you
Okay.
need? You need like a pellet gun
It
or a
sounds,
BB
it
gun.
sounds just like a mall. Like you're
Can
when
you
you're in a mall,
repeat it one more
like
time?
everywhere.
Yes. Can you hear me? Okay. So on using pronouns on page 217, which is at the bottom, we're on number 1. What
Mhm.
goes in the blank?
Oh. Predicate. Predicate nominative.
No. You see the 2 words in the parentheses at the end? One of those words goes in the blank.
Oh, them.
Okay. What do you think, Andre?
Actually, them.
Okay. What about you, Brianna? What do you think?
Them.
Okay. And what about you, Katie?
Yeah, them.
Okay. And then Eric, what do you think?
Can you repeat the question, please?
How about leaving your microphone on? There you
No,
go.
it's no, it's not that.
It is for me. No, leave it on that way because there's no background noise and no reason for you not to. Anyway, so on number 1, so what goes in the blank there? Because you have the 2 in the parentheses at the end. So one of those 2 words goes in the blank. Everybody else has said them. What do you think?
That them?
Okay, that's what you say too. Okay, now let me ask you a question. Switch the sentence around so that it is said in a way that most normal people would say it, not somebody who is from England. Instead of, should the new captains be, you know, do it, switch it around the way that the average person would say it. Make it a statement, in other words. No, make it so it's not a question.
Oh, it's they because they should be the new captain.
Yes, very good. So you see that one is is where you have the subject because it's remember on a sentence where you have the subject is in the predicate part because it's a question or because it's an inverted sentence. And so when that's the case, you've got to switch it back to help you out to make sure that you get the right pronoun for that. So it should be they, not them. All right, they should be the new captains. And if you switch it around like that, instead of leaving it like this, should the new captains be they? In other words, well, how about this? If you were going to ask it as a question, how would you ask it as a question using those same words? You guys wouldn't ask that question, huh? Brianna smiles. Katie sort of smiles. Andre. Andre, can you put your camera on, or is it not capable because of the power situation?
I never noticed that. I'm sorry.
I mean, that could be your face. I have no idea, but SpongeBob, you know, I just don't know. So wouldn't you say it like this? So pay attention. Now, listen to what I'm saying. Should they be the new captains? You wouldn't say, should them be the new captains? Right? So you see, the word will be the same no matter how you switch it. It should be they all the time, and that includes in a position it's in now. So you just kind of have to, when it sounds weird in the position it's in, try to switch it around, use the same words, and then it should tell you what they are. All right, so now what kind of, so then it says on number 2 there, it says in the blank before the number, write the job of the pronoun. So is it a subject, direct object, indirect object, predicate nominative, or an object of the preposition? Well, do you see a prepositional phrase there? Do you see a prepositional phrase there?
No.
Okay, so what is the verb?
Be.
Okay, so who or what? Be.
Captains.
Okay, so captains be they. All right, be is a linking verb. What do linking verbs usually link? Subject to,
Predicate
What-
nominative.
yeah, it'll be a predicate nominative. Very good. So you put PN in the blank in front. Now those steps, like Brianna just kind of talked through, the way that I was talking to you guys through it, and Brianna was answering them. That's the way you want to do these. That's the way you want to do these type of questions. Number 2, Katie, what would you have in the blank there?
Subject?
No. It's got to be one of the 2 words at the end of the sentence.
Oh. I crossed out me.
You don't cross out. You actually write the word in the blank. So,
Oh. I.
okay. So I should be there. And what did you say was in the blank in the front of the sentence then? What kind of a, what's his job? Yeah, it's a subject. So put S in the blank there. Very good. Hey, Andre?
Yep.
Super Andre. So what goes in the blank for number 3? Bless
I'll
you.
go to the link.
Us does go in the blank. So now what is the job of the pronoun there? Is it a subject, direct object, indirect object, predicate nominative, or object of the preposition?
What?
I didn't hear what you said.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Nothing. What?
You
What was?
When you're, hey, Andre, when you sit back, you're further away from the microphone, so it's only picking up a little bit of what you're saying, so it breaks up. So try getting a little closer when you're speaking.
What'd you say again?
What job is the pronoun doing there? So if you got the 5 options there, you have subject, direct object, indirect object, predicate nominative, and object of the preposition.
Oh. Subject?
So what's the verb?
One.
Where are you? We're on number 3, Andre.
Oh.
You even said put us in there.
I'm so sorry. My head's just not working right now.
Okay, so anyway, so you have us. So what's the verb in number 3?
Yeah. Verb number 3.
What is the verb for number 3?
Called.
Okay, who or what called?
Principal.
So the principal is the subject. So us can't be the subject.
I know that. I was looking at a different one.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, so what do you think it is? What kind of a verb is called?
An action? No. Yeah, action. What's
It is an action verb, and so there are
What's
2
up?
possibilities of something that can come after an action verb. What is that? So what's receiving the action of the calling?
Object or injury?
You're sitting back again, so you're breaking up. You're sitting back again, so you're breaking up. Okay, go ahead.
I didn't hear you because your camera was turning off and everything. I couldn't hear that.
Yeah. Anyway, when you're speaking, you've got to sit closer to your device because when you're back, it only picks up some of the words, not all of them. So in any case, so what's receiving the action of the call, of being called? Nope, I think we lost him.
Boys.
Oh, you got him. Okay, he's there. So he called boys.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody disagree with them? I
Oh,
disagree.
never mind. Us.
He called us. Us is a direct object. It's receiving the action of the verb called. Called us. Boys, what is boys in that? What's that called? You guys remember? Starts with an A. Ends with a positive.
A positive.
And a positive,
Positive.
right? And a positive that renames the word before it for emphasis. Number 4, Eric. Number 4, what should go in the blank between I and me?
I.
Okay, do this. Say the sentence with only one of the two things. For instance, Mike Reagan sits between Brandon, and Mike Reagan sits between Brandon in history class, or Mike Reagan sits between I in history class. I or me.
Oh, me.
Yeah. So when you have those choices like that, try separating them, and then you can easily tell which one works. So it's me, and then what is the job of the pronoun there?
Direct object.
So sits, he sits. Okay, can you tell me what the word between is? Anybody know what the word between is? What part of speech it is?
A direct object.
No,
Oh,
that's
no.
not a part. That's
It's
not a part of
preposition.
speech anyway. It
It's a
is a preposition. Yeah. So what would that make Brandon and me?
Indirect object.
Try again.
A prepositional phrase.
Well, it would make it the objects of the preposition. So Brandon, both Brandon and the word me would be objects of the preposition, because that's the end of the prepositional phrase. And so sits between Brandon and me. Brandon and me would be, both would be objects of the preposition. So OP would go in the blank. All right. Number 5. Who hasn't I called? Oh, Andre left. He must have had a problem with his computer. I mean, it's a phone. All right. So Mrs. Shipton told Samuel and blank the story of David and Goliath. So is it told Samuel and I, or told Samuel and me?
Me.
So separate them. Yeah, it should be me, because you told Mrs. Shipton told Samuel and Mrs. Shipton told me, or Mrs. Shipton told I. It's me. All right. So the question is, all right, what is it being used as? What did Mrs. Shipton tell?
Story.
Story, okay. To whom or for whom?
Me and Samuel.
Yeah,
Samuel.
so it should be an indirect object then for that one. Now, on the next page, fun stuff. This is a quiz. Each blank is 5 points. So getting the words in the middle are the easy part. Well, it should be easy anyway. The words in the sentence, so you're going to use those two on the end, that to choose from. But that's only 50 points of a 100-point quiz. So you have to make sure you get the blanks on the outside as well. So go through that page, and that's just like the same thing. Well, they're a little bit different. Some of the things, if they are predicate nominative, then you would use that same page 202. But you've got to make sure that whether it uses a subject, you should be able to tell whether it uses a subject. You should be able to tell whether it's a predicate nominative or whether it's used as an object of the preposition. You have to know your prepositions. Use your preposition list, your card that you have to help you. Okay. Then for diagramming, let's do number 2 and 4 together, okay? And then you're going to do 1, 3, and 5 over the weekend. So let's do the whiteboard here. All right, so for number 2, It says tornadoes are destructive. This is a pretty easy one, right? You say, yeah, Mr. Jones, why didn't you let us have that one? All right, so you have tornadoes as your subject. And then are is your verb. Now, what kind of verb is are?
Linking.
It's linking. So we're going to have a predicate adjective or a predicate nominative probably. It is more than probably, because it's not, destructive is not defining are or modifying are. So destructive is going to be your predicate adjective. All right. Destructive doesn't equal tornado. It's not the same thing as a tornado, but it does describe the tornado, destructive tornado. So that makes sense. All right. So that's that one. Number 4, maybe I'll give you another one too, but number 4. All right. Falstaff was a jolly and fat man. All right. So what's the verb here?
Was.
Hey, how about somebody besides Brianna answer? Okay. So Katie, what's the subject here?
Man.
We're on number 4.
Oh, Falstaff.
Falstaff. Okay. So Falstaff was. So we know that was is what kind of a verb? Well, it's either a state of being or it's a linking verb. So it is a linking verb. So we have a, what do we have here that describes Falstaff or is equal to Falstaff? Predicate adjective or predicate nominative? What word do we have that?
Man.
Man is correct. Yes, man is the one. And then on the, so you still have 4 words left. You have a. What is a modifying? Besides Brianna.
A jolly.
Juliana, what is a modifying? Your microphone, Brianna.
Jolly and fat.
So it's what kind of a jolly? It's an a jolly. Does that sound right?
Oh, it's modifying man.
Very good. Okay, good. All right, so man, and then Eric, what about jolly and fat? What is that modifying?
Man.
Those two are modifying man. What about the word and though? What do we do with that? Anybody remember? Does this remind you? You guys remember that? So when you have a compound, you have 2 words that are adjectives that are modifying the same thing, jolly and fat. So the and joins those 2 words together there, okay? All right. So if you were going to have me do one other one that counts for points, that would help you, which one would you want me to do?
Number 5.
And then, okay,
No.
you might want to write this. Why?
Oops.
What do you think, Juliana? Okay, so we got 1 vote for 5. What do you think, Eric?
I don't think. They're all pretty
Oh.
easy, actually.
You didn't have to tell me that. What's that?
They're all pretty easy, actually.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay. I guess we'll find out when we see. What about you, Katie? What do you think?
5.
What do you think, Juliana?
1.
Won't matter because Eric's not voting, so you already lose. So here we go. We'll do number 5. All right. So let's look at number 5. What do you notice? And you might want to write this down, by the way, because or I guess you can go back and look at the recording. But this is going to count for points, so you want to write this down. So what kind of a sentence is number 5?
Compound.
Compound sentence.
It is a compound. Very good. Okay. So it being a compound sentence, then we know we're going to have one up here. Whether we have a direct object or anything like that, we don't know yet. But you're going to make your dots, your lines, and then you have one down here with your verb. All right. So now, 2 sentences. The first sentence. What is the first sentence?
My uncle in Kansas grows wheat and oats.
Okay, so that's the first one. So what is the verb there?
Grows.
Okay, so grows is the verb. Who or what grows?
Uncle.
Uncle.
Okay. All right. And so uncle grows, is there, that's an action verb. So is there anything that it is receiving the action of growing?
Wheat and oats.
Yes, very good, Eric. Wheat and oats. So this one would be split like this. Okay, and so you have the word and here. And then you have wheat, oats. Okay. Now, are we missing any words in that one still?
My
Okay, so
And-
my, what is that modifying?
uncle.
All right, so we have my capitalized. Okay. Then what about the other ones in Kansas? What is that? I advise you to go to page 247.
It's a prepositional phrase.
Every time I say that, you already know where I'm heading. That's right. It's a prepositional phrase. So there's only two words, in, and then Kansas is your object of the preposition. All right. Now, what's the conjunction? Oops, I spelled Kansas wrong. What is the conjunction for these two sentences?
And
Okay, so that goes here. All right. Now, on the bottom sentence, Katie, what's the bottom sentence?
Uncle is the subject.
Okay.
Grows is the verb.
All right.
And my uncle, like,
So my is, what is my modifying?
uncle.
Okay, so my would be here. All right. My uncle.
Mhm.
Okay, so you're missing three words still.
And modifies Georgia.
In modifies Georgia. So what kind of Georgia and in Georgia? Look at the one we just did for above for my uncle in Kansas.
And
So what do we call that? So this is your prepositional phrase in Georgia. So that's the uncle in Georgia. All right, now grows, and what's the last word?
peaches.
Okay, so what is peaches?
A direct object.
It is a direct object. That's what's being grown. And so peaches goes here. All right. So that is number 5. So if it's done yet, I would suggest so that is your last part of the assignment. So you still have 1, 3, and 5 of the diagrams. 5 is already given to you here if you want to write it down. If you don't, then you can just do it on your own if you enjoy that type of thing. Some people really do enjoy diagramming. All right, so let's see here. All right, so let's go ahead to math now. And you see, you know your assignment. Does anybody need me to repeat the assignment, or are you guys all set? Okay. All right. So I'll go ahead and erase this. They may still need it. All right. All right. So let's see. All right. So lesson number 123 is what we'll be on today. Oh, this is a fun one. I think it is anyway. What we're talking about in this one is finding functions and square roots of numbers greater than 100. Eventually, as you get through math, you will find that there are things called perfect squares. All right, now we know 1 squared is equal to what?
1,
1. What about 2 squared?
2. No.
Okay, so 2 squared is not 2. What's 3 squared?
9.
4 squared?
16.
16.
Okay, 5 squared?
25.
25.
Okay, 6 squared?
36.
7 squared?
49.
8 squared?
64.
Okay, 9 squared?
81.
81.
Okay, and then 10 squared. Well, we know what 10 squared is, right? I can't write it there because I've run out of space. So that's equal to 100. 10 times 10 is 100. Now, notice the pattern here. 1, 4, 9, 6, 5, 6, 9, 4, 1. Do you see how it repeats itself backwards? It's like the 5 here is a mirror. That's in the middle of numbers, any number between 1 and 9. So if it's 21 to 29, the last digit is always going to follow this pattern. 1, 4, 9, 6, 5, 6, 9, 4, 1. So for instance, 11 squared we know is 121. 12 squared is 144. So you see the pattern 1, 4. So we know this one's going to end in a 9. So 13 squared is 169. So what's the next number? A 6. 14 squared. I have to think on this one. Hold on. What's that?
196.
196. It's probably right. 140, 140, 140, 186, isn't it? Or no? Hold on. Uh, 196. Yeah. You are correct. Good. Okay, and then 15 squared is 225. So that ends in a 5. And then the next one, 16 squared, is going to end in a 6. All right, and that's 256, I believe. 17 squared is going to end in a 9 again. And that's 289. And then 18 squared is equal to, it's going to end in a 4. And that's 324. And then 19 squared is going to end in a 1. And that's 361. So you see that pattern will follow. So anytime you have, if you know what this set of numbers, if you know how that runs right there, if you know that these run in that order, you'll automatically know what the last number is on a particular number. Also, you notice that there are no perfect squares that end in a 3, a 2, a 3, or a 7 or an 8. Okay, so if you have a number that ends in a 2, 3, 7, or 8, you know there is no number that's exactly the square root of whatever that number is originally. Okay, now getting back to what we're talking about here, look at example 1. It says square root of 400. And that's the square root of 400. So we know the square root of 81 would be 9. We know the square root of 64 is 8, and so on and so forth. But what about the square root of 400? Well, what two numbers do you multiply together to equal 400? What two numbers that are the same numbers do you multiply together to get 400? What would it
20?
look like? Yeah, 20 would be it. Now, one way to find out is by, I guess is by, you know, trial and error. So you can say, okay, I'm going to try, I know 10 squared is 100, right? So we all know that because that one's we already know. So we know it's going to be higher than 10. So then you say, okay, well then let's try 15. Well, I know 15 squared is 225, so I've got to go a lot higher than that. I know it ends in a 0, so I know that this number has to end in a 0. Okay, so I'm going to try my next 10 up, and that's 20 squared, and that does equal 400. So you know the answer is square root of 400 is equal to 20. And next one, square root of 625. You remember that pattern I had? What does that number have to be in order to be to fit the square root of 625? What does that last digit have to be of the numbers? So we have, you guys remember the pattern? 1, 4, 9, 6, 5, 6, 9, 4, 1. That's your pattern. So this is the ones. This is the ones. This is the 2s, 3s, 4s, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So what does that number have to end in order to end in a 5 like this one right here? What does that have to end in then to get a 5 as your answer? Hello? Is anybody there? Brains have exploded or what? Too much information? All right, so go back to the pattern. Look here, everybody. Go back to the pattern. Oh, it's gone. It erased automatically. Oh, well. It has to end in a 5. 5, so it has to be either 5 squared, 15 squared, 25 squared, 35 squared. Okay, one of those has to be the answer because square root of 625, the only thing in that pattern is something that ends in a 5. So any number ends in a 1, it's going to be, your end number is going to be a 1. If it's going to be a 2, the end number is going to be a 4. If it's a 3, the end number is going to be a 9. If it's a 4, the end number is going to be a 6. If it's a 5, the end number is going to be, anybody? Okay, a 5. 6 is going to be a 6. 7 is going to be a 9 again, and you're following this pattern again. 1, 4, 9, 6, 5, 6, 9, 4, 1. So an 8 and a 9, and so those are your pattern. The only one that has the 5 as the last number of your answer is the ones that end in 5. So 5 squared is 25. What's 15 squared? Anybody?
25.
225. It's 225, 15 squared. So 25 squared is
6.
that answer right there. So the square root of 625 is equal to 25. Okay. So that is the way to solve it. Now look at the functions thing. This one's a little bit easier, I think, to deal with than what you guys were just trying to wrap your head around, which some of your heads are apparently not flexible enough to wrap around it right now. All right. So you said Nathan thought of a rule that would use the length of the side of a square to find the perimeter of the square. Okay, you know a square, all 4 sides are the same, right? So he sees a square. He thought of a rule that would describe that. So this is, well, sorry, I think he used F. All right, so he used S for his letters. All right, so that's one side. So he knows that S in the chart stands for the side, and then P would stand for the perimeter. So if the S is 1, what would the perimeter be? Everybody?
4.
4, because there are 4 sides in a square, they're all the same. If the perimeter was 5, the answer would be, if the side was 5, the answer would be?
25, 20.
Yeah, 20, because 5 times 4. And if it was 15, the perimeter would be?
60.
Yep, 60, okay? So now so you see that the pattern is you take your first number here, that number, whatever it is, and then you multiply it by 4. That's your pattern in your function here. This is called a function. This is something you're gonna deal with as you go forward in math a lot. And so you wanna make sure that you understand it. So look under there, the function he created was P equals 4 times S, okay? Whatever the side is, you multiply by 4, and that equals your answer for the perimeter. Now, look at the next page on example 3. It says, find the rule for this function, then use the rule to find the number for M. So what do you think that rule is? Do you have L and you have M? All right, so this one is 5 and then 20. And then you have, so what are the 2 possible rules for that? What are the 2? You could have 5 times 4 is equal to 20, or you could have 5 plus 15 is equal to 20. So you look at the other numbers to determine which one of those 2 rules could it be. Could it be times 4? Because that means 10 times 4 would be 40, and that's not the answer there. So it has to be the other one, which is the rule of plus 15. So whatever that number plus 15. So if you put 7 in, what's your answer?
28.
No, because you're not multiplying by 4. You notice this function could be 5 times 4 or 5 plus 15. If that was 5 times 4, then this would be, but this one would be 5 times 4 as well, but it's not. You see this one they added 15, this one they added 15. So that means you're gonna add 15 here and your answer is gonna be 22. So that's how a function works. And so you've got to determine how that function works before you can do it. Now, look at example 4. This one, they're going to give you the function. And so when they give you the function, you've got to determine whatever number you put in for where X is. Okay, so they have here, this is sideways. All right, and so you have the function, which is X, is the number. Those are what the numbers are going to determine. So 2, 3, and then 4, and then you have the function is 3x minus 2. So if you put 2 in for the x, what's 3 times 2?
6.
6 minus 2 is?
4.
4.
So there's your answer, and you notice it's the same answer. 3 times 3 is 9 minus 2, the answer is 7. Okay? Now you go to the last one. 4 times 3 is 12. Minus 2 is?
10.
Now notice something. In this pattern, you have everything is being added by 3. Okay, so let's just carry it one number further. So let's imagine that this should be 13 then, right? If each one is adding up by 3. So if we put 5 there, what's 5 times 3? It's 15 minus 2 is 13. So you can see that pattern would continue to work. So we could, if we went further, we wouldn't even need to figure out each individual one. We could just count by 3s on this. And then every number you add, so that's going to be 16, and then 7 is going to be 19, and so on and so forth. Okay? So when they give you the pattern, then you know what to do. All right, so you have practices to do. Don't forget to send those to me. Any questions about anything on these at all? How do I put you guys to sleep? No? Okay. All right. So if you have any questions, remember also, if you guys have questions about something about your work, about questions on any of the assignments that you have, please don't hesitate to call me. I generally, for those of you that do contact me regularly, which is, mostly, I think pretty much everybody except Katie calls me or contacts me in some way usually. If you have questions, call me. I'm available even after work hours. I usually will get back to you, although not all the time, but most of the time I will. So try to do that. Also, if you haven't taken the trial test, you have to take it. Make sure you take that. Some of you have already taken it, you've already passed. Some of you haven't taken it yet, so make sure you do. Did you send me yours earlier, Juliana? Was that you that asked me that question earlier? Or was that Yuri?
Oh, what? Oh, yeah, it was me.
What was it about again? Did I answer it already? What was that?
What? It was
Did
about
I answer it already? Oh, okay. So I already answered it. Have you sent me your spelling test? You did? Did I give you an? You sent me the trial. Did you pass it?
I don't know.
Okay, I haven't seen it yet. That's fine. All right. So I've got it right here. I'll get that to you, back to you, Juliana. Let you know what you got on it. And then anybody else have any questions? All right. So that's it. Unless you guys have something else, I'll just say see you guys on Friday. All right. See you later. Have a good day.
You too.